14 people arrested in Florida, including suspected Tren de Aragua gang members and individuals charged with sex crimes against minors. It's one of the first major operations under the new Laken Riley Act. That new law requires the detention and deportation of illegal immigrants accused of theft and violent crimes. It's named after Laken Riley. She is the Georgia college student who was brutally murdered last year by a man released into the U.S. despite having a prior criminal history. NewsNation's Jorge Ventura is live for us in San Antonio with more. Jorge, what can you tell us?
Well, Nicole, this was a targeted 3-day operation carried out by ICE agents in Miami. Those agents also partnering with the DEA, the FBI, the ATF, and U.S. Marshals. Now, the focus of this operation in Miami was to arrest individuals in the country illegally with criminal records, particularly those who now fall under the new requirements under the Laken Riley Act. Those arrests did include suspected gang members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, a violent criminal group with ties to human trafficking and extortion. That gang is now a designated foreign terrorist organization by the Trump administration. Along those arrests did also include individuals charged with sexual assault on minors. These types of arrests highlight how federal authorities are now using the Laken Riley Act to detain and deport criminal aliens more aggressively. It was also the first bill signed by President Trump in his new administration. Trump praised the bipartisan support behind it, calling it a priority in his immigration enforcement agenda. Now, this law not only expands ICE's authority, but also allows state attorney generals to sue the federal government if immigration policies fail to protect local communities. That also means that states now have a way to challenge federal decisions like releasing certain migrants or delaying deportations. The Laken Riley Act was passed after the murder of Laken Riley, a nursing student from Georgia. She was killed by a migrant who was released into the U.S. despite having prior criminal history. Now, this law does require ICE to detain undocumented individuals if they're charged with crimes like shoplifting, assaulting an officer, or more serious offenses that harm others. ICE officials say that under this law, any undocumented person who admits to, is charged with, or is convicted of certain crimes must be detained. That's exactly what was carried out in that Miami operation by those ICE agents. Nicole.
So, Jorge, what can you tell us about a recent arrest of 2 undocumented migrants in California?
So take a look at these images here. This is coming from the border in California in El Centro. Border Patrol agents from the Premier sector arrested 2 Venezuelan men in the country illegally. They were actually attempting to smuggle migrants into the country. Now, one of the men was actually wanted for murder in Chicago. El Centro Border Patrol chief saying this after the arrest, quote, "This genius, already on the run for a Chicago murder, thought the best way to keep a low profile was to smuggle aliens across the border where the Premier sector agents smash criminals. Nothing says low profile like committing another felony." Now, that individual is facing alien smuggling charges, but also flight to avoid prosecution. Nicole.
All right, Jorge, live for us there in San Antonio. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.